Well, hello there, fellow geeks and geekettes. Well, even in self-quarantine, you can keep yourself busy and at the end of the day say, oh, that has been a day, and enjoy a nice chilled glass of energy drink. Oh. Now, after a day of hard work, I have decided to make the second part of my top 10 comic book movies / TV adaptations, and so let's get into it. Now, first, a few honorable mentions before I get to my actual picks. I've got two honorable mentions that didn't really make it to the list for one reason or another. The first one is a documentary. It's called The Future Shock. I've got an Arrow Video Blu-ray copy, which is basically a documentary about the establishment, the creation, and the history of 2000 AD, the British comic book publisher. It's got many interviews with Pat Mills. Let's see if there's a list of people, so I don't have to give you the list by heart. Right. The description says, featuring interviews with the likes of Pat Mills, Dave Gibbons, Neil Gaiman, Carl Urban, and Alex Garland. Then we've got Karen Berger, and I believe there was even Grant Morrison. I enjoyed that part especially. There is a blooper reel, and I believe there is even a documentary about making this documentary. Thousands and thousands of extras and bonuses and things like that. But the actual documentary runs for 105 minutes, and I highly recommend it because it is very informative, very funny. If you are into comic book, if you are into comic book history, especially British comics, and how the British people, the British writers, and the British illustrators then invaded the American market of, the American comic books, I do strongly recommend you watching this documentary. It's very good. I might rewatch it tonight. Yeah, right. The other honorable mention is a film. Once again, the big writing on the DVD is in Czech, because it's a Czech copy of the DVD. But it's Watchmen by was it Zack Snyder? Yeah. By Zack Snyder. Why is it an honorable mention? Why didn't it make it to the list? Because I don't... basically because of that very same reason why Alan Moore hates this film. I just can't forgive DC Comics for doing what they did to Alan Moore. Not only as far as Watchmen goes, but as well as... what was it? It was mainly Watchmen, but I think that they did the same thing with V for Vendetta and The Killing Joke. But then again, Batman belongs to DC, so maybe just with Watchmen and V for Vendetta. I'm not going to go into details. People, you've got Google. Google it. Find it out what DC Comics did to Alan Moore. But that being put aside, it's a very good film. Like, as far as the actual making of the movie, the cinematography, the directive part, the actors, it's a very decent film. Of course, every adaptation is an adaptation of the original thing, of the book, the comic book, so on and so forth, so it's not the same. But Zack Snyder did a very, very decent job, and I don't mind rewatching this film if somebody wants to watch it with me. I don't really watch it myself. I rather read the comic, but it's not a bad film, right? So yeah, an honorable mention. Now, to the actual list. Now that I look at it, I've got 1, 2, 3. The other one is my... Well, we'll see. Now, The first pick of the second part is a film that I actually do not own on a physical medium yet, and I would have forgotten about it completely if Rorschach's reviews and its host Rorschach didn't remind me of the film, and I can't understand why I forgot about it. Like, absolutely, completely. And it's the Joker with Joaquin Phoenix from 2000 and, was it this year or last year? It was 2019, yeah, because it won the Oscars. It won a couple of Academy Awards. Or was it just the one for the Best Actor? I don't even know. But, man, the Joker with Joaquin Phoenix is the most realistic comic book film I have ever seen in my life. And I have never, saw a film in which you could identify with the villain or with the protagonist, really, which in the Joker with Joaquin Phoenix is really the same thing, as much as with Joaquin Phoenix in the Joker. You can absolutely, of course, he is an unreliable narrator, which means that the film can't really offend any comic book fan who who really says, "Oh, I don't want to know the origin of the Joker because the Joker is." I do think so as well. I don't want to know the true origin of the Joker. That is one of the main appeals of the character, that you do not know his true origin. You don't know basically anything. You know nothing about the character except for the fact that he's completely crazy. He is a maniac, a murderous psycho, and that's why people love the Joker. I think that the comic book industry and the film industry has been over-Jokerized lately. Maybe too many interpretations, too many incarnations of the Joker and Harley Quinn. They have become very popular. As I said, maybe too much, but I am willing to make an exception, and that exception is 2019 Joaquin Phoenix in the Joker, which was a masterpiece, really. And come to think of it, I think that it very well might be the best comic book movie of all time. And that's, enough said, really, that one. So, Joaquin Phoenix in The Joker from 2019. I should get it on Blu-ray and rewatch it, actually. Now, sticking with the theme. With the theme of Batman characters being portrayed a bit more realistically than, usual, I need to choose, of course, Christopher Nolan and his Batman Begins. Most people would choose The Dark Knight, or even The Dark Knight Rises. But I have always loved Batman Begins the most of all three of them. I'm not sure why. Maybe because I love the atmosphere. I love the introduction of the League of Shadows and Ra's al Ghul, or Ra's al Ghul as some people call him. But something, except for Rachel, I really don't like the actress playing Rachel in the first movie. I prefer Rachel from the second one much more. But apart from poor Rachel from the first film, Batman Begins is a very good film. Really, Batman being portrayed realistically, if he existed in the real world, more or less, well, definitely less realistic than the Joker. That's basically how it would be, how it would look like, most likely. And apart from that, I love Liam Neeson. I loved him since I watched Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Qui-Gon Jinn is one of my favorite Star Wars characters. Actually, my very favorite one. And I loved his interpretation, his portrayal of Ra's al Ghul. So that's Batman Begins by Christopher Nolan. Then I have to mention Iron Man, the first film. And I think that this actually has to be a rare thing. This is a steelbook, but a DVD steelbook. As you can see, it's got different dimensions, I've got the other pick in my hand now. It's of a different size than a regular Blu-ray Steelbook. I got this a long time ago. Actually, when it first came out, I got this, and I've also got the second one. You know, of all the Marvel films, of all the million, billion, gazillion Marvel films from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I love Iron Man 1 the most, even more than the Avengers. Firstly, simply because it's my favorite, I like it the most, and secondly, it started it all. If there weren't this film, there would be, you know, there would be no Marvel Cinematic Universe, or at least as famous and as good Marvel Cinematic Universe as it is nowadays. And thirdly, it was Robert Downey Jr. who made Iron Man as popular as the character is nowadays. Nobody cared about Iron Man when he was just a comic book character. Well, some people did, but he was a B-list or even a C-list character. People really didn't like Iron Man. People even made fun of him. I think that, you know, I dare say he was the Aquaman of Marvel Comics. So then Robert Downey Jr. came, and he instantly became the most popular Marvel character of all time. So that I find that quite remarkable. And of course, it's well deserved, because Robert Downey Jr.'s portrayal of Iron Man is quite fantastic and awesome. So that is why I do recommend this. And I do pick Iron Man. Well, it's good, nice interior artwork here. Iron Man flying, yeah. So I do recommend Iron Man 1. It started it all. If you want to rewatch, you know, do a marathon or binge watch all the Marvel films, you should obviously start with this one. So Iron Man 1, or just Iron Man with Robert Downey Jr. My next pick is another animated series. Unfortunately, so far I've only managed to get like these, once again, Czech DVDs, but they were sold in like these. They are not knockoffs; they are the real deal. But they were sold in these paper covers, not in like genuine DVD covers, and that I do not really like. So I need to order it in. I need to order the complete collection in a proper box set. But I'm talking about the X-Men, the animated X-Men from 1990s. You know, it's the same as with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or with Batman the Animated Series. I think that, or for me, the 90s X-Men is the ultimate incarnation, the ultimate portrayal of X-Men. Be it the comic book X-Men by Claremont and Jim Lee and all the other people that were working on X-Men in the 90s, and the animated X-Men, the TV show. It's not my very favorite animated TV show from the 90s. It's obviously Batman the Animated Series, but I really do enjoy this, and did in the past, and have enjoyed it many times since. So until I get a proper box set, I've got only these 4 DVDs, which I think there is 1, 2, 3, 4. No, how many episodes? 4 episodes per a disc. 3 or 4, right? Yeah. So I'm looking forward to getting the other ones. So yeah, that's the X-Men, the animated series from the 1990s. And the last pick, I don't have anything in my hands right now because I don't have a physical copy of that film either. I don't know why. I have seen that movie many times. Of course, the first time I saw it was in the cinema, and then it was at some other people's homes, I suppose. So that's why I do not own the copy of it. But it's Logan, which is basically the last X-Men movie with Logan and Professor Xavier in it. What is there to say? Slightly inspired by Old Man Logan, the film. Very depressing, very touching. It's a comic book film drama, I would say. Introducing X-23 into the film universe of Marvel Comics. I liked actually the portrayal of X-23. as she was portrayed by the little girl. And of course, Hugh Jackman, you know, he will forever be Wolverine, as much as Robert Downey Jr. will forever be Iron Man. You know, there were many Batman, there were many James Bonds, so on and so forth, but there are some characters that just can't be replaced by other actors, like Indiana Jones. Can you imagine Indiana Jones being portrayed by somebody else than Harrison Ford? No, no, no. And Wolverine's the same. And as far as X-Men films go, the motion pictures, not animated ones, Logan is my favorite, I have to say. Just because it's, in my personal opinion, it's the best film of all X-Men films. And my personal favorite. And very touching. And did I cry? I don't know. My mum did. I saw it with her in cinema, I think. And she did cry. I don't blame her. I might have cried as well. I don't remember. Right, so these were my picks, my top 10, and some honorable mentions of Western comics made into films and TV shows. So, once again, I will say the same thing as I did in my previous video. Please do share your own top 10 or top 5, top 11, whatever, Western comic books, adaptations, as far as films go, TV shows go, la-di-da-di-da. Tell me if you agree with me as far as some of the titles go. If you disagree, please do feel free to agree or disagree. Do feel free to dislike this video. Do feel free to like this video. Do feel free to engage in an intelligent conversation. And that will be all for me. See you in another video. And with this, cheers. Skål, my friends. Oh, I've got some things to read and watch. Bye.